All right. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to Results Driven by RW. I love that you are here. I am excited about tonight. I believe that we got some good information imparted into you to hopefully shift you a little bit, not just in business, but of course in life too. I believe that it all goes hand in hand. So goes your home, so goes your business. So goes your business, so goes your home. And the key is, and I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face, you can have it all. I believe you can have a phenomenal family, phenomenal relationships, incredible health, and crazy stupid wealth. How about that? Not just wealth, but crazy stupid wealth. Okay. So it just all depends on what you want. And that goes back to now lining yourself up to focus on what's going to work the best for you and what you're trying to accomplish. My goal as your coach is not to do the work for you. My goal is to push you in the direction and challenge you to start making some adjustments to help you get closer to where you're going. If I can do one huge thing is for some of you that are already where you kind of want to be, I won't even push you a little further, and then some of you that are getting started, I want to show you how to get to that door opening. So I really want to make sure that you go further faster. It took me 26 years of entrepreneurship to finally get to the place to where now I can come back and help somebody and really be able to tell you not just what I heard, but what I'm doing. I'm very blessed to be owner of multiple businesses, multi-million-dollar real estate. And the great thing is 2 trucking companies, gosh, about to open up some other big events coming up. And soon, hopefully very soon, even bigger things that we're working on. So we're excited that you're on. Looking forward to you now moving yourself to the next level. And hopefully we can help you out a little bit, all right? So tonight, I want to deal with number one, of course, little housekeeping. I want you to take some notes if you can. Definitely, I'm going to drop a few nuggets, a few bombs. I want to make sure you get those and put those in your back pocket and use them later. Do me a favor though, when you get that first bomb, at least let them know where you got it from. Now, the second time you can actually act like it's yours. But the first time, just give a brother some props. That's all I'm saying. Just give me some love on that. So we're going to post it on your Twitter, Facebook, or just say, you know what, I got that from RW. Give me some love on some of this stuff. Camera on if you can. If it's safe, let's definitely do so. If not, I totally understand. I know you guys are moving about doing your thing. And then some of you are watching this, of course, the replay. But I want to make sure that if you can, set those cameras on. I love to see your smiling faces, all right? Also, ask questions or make comments in the chat. Please do me a favor, open up my chat lines. If you would, just drop your name, hola, hello, all those good things. Arrivederci. Okay, no, that ain't hello, is it? Anyway, so with that, whatever you got to put in there to get yourself going, please do so, because I want you to know that you can use that chat button. If I say something that's like, what? Do me a favor and put what inside the chat, okay? So we can actually get others to encourage them to make comments also. Only unmute yourself when called upon. I am going to do a quick monologue, and then we're going to get into some dialogue here in a few moments. So with that being said, tonight's topic, I'm going to deal with, well, before I get there, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm excited about tonight. I really am. But before I get there, let me hear about some week's wins. And here's why we do this week's wins. Because most of you are overachievers, which is phenomenal, but you don't ever look at your wins. You always look at your losses and you magnify your losses, minimize your wins. And some of you, I need you to start acknowledging even the smallest wins, because the more you stack those wins, the more it's easier to start expecting to win. It's a mind shift. And that mind shift doesn't start with the big stuff. It starts with the little stuff. For me, my greatest mind shift is every morning I wake up, I'm grateful just to be alive. To me, that's worth more than $1 million to know that, hey, I'm up, I'm good, and I'm halfway in my right mind. Now, I won't say I'm all the way in my right mind all the time, but anyways, halfway in my right mind. So with that being said, real quick, I got at least 2 or 3 people. I want to hear at least one win from this week. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how minute it might seem to you, but I need you to open your mouth and actually hear yourself say. So go, real quick.
Delshana here. My win this week is I rested. RESTED.
Yes. Wow. Look at that. For some of you that don't know, for Delshana to say that is huge. Some people you try to speed up. Some people you try to speed up and slow down all at the same time. So I'm excited. And also, just so you know, rest is important because it rejuvenates. It brings you back to purpose. And sometimes it's a way of sharpening that axe. All right. Who else is out there? Who else has got a win? Just give me one small win. Anise, I see you reaching for your button saying, yes, yes, I got one. Okay, what you got?
As far as for this week, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can say for the first week during my work period, it actually felt good. I was able to do everything I was supposed to do, get my work orders in. It was a good week. It was a good week for me.
Beautiful.
Smooth sailing.
There
And it's
you
not
go.
usually like that.
Well, I'd like to hear that. Well, also, too, I think a great report is that you became a one-on-one coaching client now, and that's a huge win. You thought enough to put yourself in a position to really blow up and do some things. So we're
Yes.
looking forward to it, and I'm super
Yes, I
excited
am.
to work with you one-on-one. I met with another today that I'm going to be working with one-on-one too. So definitely glad about that. That's a great week's win for you also. Who else?
Oh, yes.
One more big win. I'm sorry, Nisa, what'd you say?
Oh no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready.
Okay, I know you
I
are.
am ready.
I appreciate you. Let's go make it happen.
Yeah,
All
most
right.
definitely.
All right. Who else we out there? One more quick win, and we're gonna jump into it. All right, I'm gonna hit the Jeopardy music. That's it. That's all y'all
I
got?
got a little story nobody
right,
want to share.
Hit me, man. Hit me. Let's hear it.
The past couple of weeks, I've been missing the sessions. I'm on shift or I've been called for certain events. So I know I'm up in the Mount Charleston region for my work. And, with the weather being what it is, kind of led me to kind of be an individual, more so exemplify the leadership qualities. And it's not to big up myself at all. But power went off in our whole facility with the wind. So I kind of, steered the way in returning that power before it became like a emergency situation. And then another situation was Cinco de Mayo, pretty amazing situation. And for me, it was more so about COVID. COVID was crazy in the fact that what I'm doing, I work with youth, we're impactful in the community, and I'm all about that connecting the bridge dynamic. And I remember one time we were doing an outing and we drove through the strip and it was just so desolate. So this Cinco de Mayo event was at the Bob Price Community Center, so East Side, and one of the commissioners had requested us. So this is my first time, introducing myself to Commissioner Kirkpatrick, like face to face. Pretty cool individual, down to earth, very hands on. Get the work done versus kind of standoffish. So it was pretty cool. Great experience. A great chance to expose the youth that I work with, and doing great things in the community, exposing them to doing great things and attaching those memories. So now, as the event is unfolding, I promise you, 5,000 minimum. The kids are like, "Sir, this is a great experience. Like, I appreciate you for taking us." So just impactful moments and constant reminders of that why, and kind of like why I do what I do, but at the same time, a reminder to kind of let's get to the next level, right?
Man, that's a phenomenal. That's huge. I tell you, just a matter now of getting and keeping that ball rolling, even watching even bigger things happen. I love that. Thank you for sharing, man. I appreciate that. That's good stuff. All right, well, let's jump into the night. So tonight, I want to talk about failure to launch. Failure to launch. And I know it's a movie, but I don't want to use the movie concept. I want to use it from a different perspective. It's also, which is interesting, I found it to be a way of really finding out what you're made of. Because a lot of people have failed to launch in the aspect of they haven't gone through with what they said they would do. I don't know if there's any of you on my wonderful screen today that has ideas, products, or things that you haven't fully launched? If that's you, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm working on some things. I'm gonna push you a little bit tonight because at some point you have to get ready. That's a part of it, right? You have to get set, that's what they say, but then you have to execute. You have to go now to getting the work done, going and jumping into it. Some of you are masters at putting stuff together and organizing and doing all kinds of stuff and business plans and all this great stuff. And man, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I'm taking nothing from you. You can coordinate, you can do this, you can, I mean, it's just, your skill set is amazing. But what happens is somewhere you get stuck in between the ready and the set. In other words, you don't follow through on what you said you would do. Now, this is not in every area. Some of you, it's just certain areas that you struggle in. Now, some of you, if it comes to a certain area, like say working out or say eating the right things, it's like, man, I'm all over that. But when it comes to something dealing with your business or your vision or your mission or your purpose, it seems like somewhere in there you get stuck in some areas to where now you don't actually go forth and finish what you started. And I think some of you can relate to this, maybe a few, but maybe you relate to you're a good starter. In other words, man, you get to the starting line, you got your shoot on, you got your gym suit on, you ready to go. You want them cats to be at the gym or be at the basketball court. They'll come out there, man, they'll rip off the pants and man, they look like they're gonna ball out, man. They about to go and just, this tongue out like Michael Jordan. They get on the court and you're like, wah, 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 wah. Start throwing up bricks. You're like, what? But it's to the point to where they had it all looking like it was good until it was time to actually execute or launch or go forth and do what they said they were gonna do. Now I threw up on my screen here, and some of you are already reading it, to where there's a bunch of excuses we can give when it comes to failure to launch. Now, if any of these are yours, just type in the chat, you're talking to me. Because here's one I've heard. The reason I haven't really done what I was gonna do, and let me put this personal. This was mine, and then my son rebuked me and slapped me around about it. I got to be there for my kids. You know, I would have been further along, but you know, I had to make sure that I was there for my kids and my grandkids. And so because of that, I had to pull back. You know what I'm saying? I had to pull back on the things that I wanted because I wanted to make sure that they was good. Okay, I want you to process that for a moment. Because here's one thing I want to throw out there just around that. And as my son so eloquently told me, Dad, why are you using us as excuses to not do what you know you should be doing? In all actuality, if you do what you're supposed to do and launch, then they'll benefit more from your launch than they will from you sitting there hanging out with them. Ain't nothing like you sitting there with broke people discussing y'all brokenness. I said it. I ain't scared of none of y'all. But getting to the point where we have to be careful with that. Next thing is, I hear, I don't want to lose my family and friends. And we've talked about this in many sessions, that some of you, you're gonna have to get to a point to realize that not everybody's going with you. You cannot take mom and them, not yet. You can't take daughter and them, mom, sister and them, brother and them, cousin and them. And some of you, your failure to launch really is that you don't want to leave nobody behind. You got that Marine mentality, nobody left behind. And unfortunately, in this run that you're on right now, there will be some folk, and it's not that you're going to intentionally leave them, but they're going to choose to stay behind. And some of you, the realization that some people are choosing, how many know that there are people that are homeless because of circumstance, but then there's also people that are homeless by choice? Life boils down to a choice. And you have to ask yourself, you know, really, is that a good reason not to launch? Next thing is, this is a good job. I should be just thankful I got this job. Is that anybody that I'm talking to? If that is you, put it in the chat. I got a good job. You know, I can't take no risk on losing this good job, man. Because man, you know, this job paid benefits. And I remember when I first stepped out and did my own business 26 years ago, and I was in the military, and I was getting a check on the 1st and the 15th, and I was also going down and getting WIC. How you gonna be at a government job, getting WIC, and working? My side job was working a job. So I'm sorry. I digress. My side hustle had a hustle. In other words, I was working 3 jobs trying to maintain a broke lifestyle. Ain't that something? But sometimes we can get stuck there and say, well, this is a good job. You know, I should just be thankful for this. And we'll get stuck there and we won't move from there. That becomes an excuse. Next thing is I need health care for the family. Anybody there? I want to leave my job, but you know, the way things are looking, you know, I got to make sure, you know, my family's kind of jacked up, or, you know, I'm the only one that's got the insurance. And so if I move out, man, I hate to kill that one too. I had the same issue, but I had to step out. And by God's grace, I didn't get sick. Nobody got sick. Matter of fact, now I think about it, nobody got sick. It's like, don't you do it. Nobody get, no cough, no coffee. It was to where then we got to a place to where, you know, that could be an excuse. I need healthcare, so hence I'm not gonna launch. And then here's the big one, which I think is the real story we got to ask ourselves is what happens if it doesn't work? How many know right now in today's world, they are begging for people to come to work? Literally. They got signs on the door when you walk in that say, something about don't beat up the people that are here. Work with us or something like that. So if you lost a job today, as bad to the bone as you are, you could find another job tomorrow. So I want you to put that back in your back pocket too. But I done established some stuff at this job. But the question is the job gonna get you to what you said you wanted? Is it gonna lead you closer to your dream, your vision? If not, maybe it's a launching pad, but maybe you've overextended your welcome. Anybody know that you can overextend your grace in the area to where then it becomes frustrating? You get mad every time you have to go in. And that's only because now you've overextended your grace because you knew in your heart of hearts that this job had served its purpose a long time ago, or should have, and maybe you just didn't do the right things when you were there. That's another part of the story, okay? Or here's the reason I believe Marvel and all these other places and movies are so great right now, because everybody's looking for a savior. Everybody's looking for somebody to step in and save the day. So are you waiting for somebody to save the day for you? And I know some of you are like, nah, not me. That's not me. That's not the reason I haven't left. I'm not waiting for somebody to save the day. Well, what are you waiting on then? If not you, who is my question? If not you, who? Who's going to do what needs to be done to get you there? Now, the one thing I found out is we must keep learning the skills necessary for more independent activities and decision making. Getting to the place now, the definition that I checked and I researched on failure to launch, which is like if you look at it from a psychological perspective, is more dealing with a child that doesn't want to leave home. And it's crazy because some of you've made places home that are just temporary dwellings. You've made jobs and opportunities home. In other words, you've stuck to it so to the point to where now it's become a part of your life. I mean, it become your whole life instead of just a part of your life. And if you allow something as a part of your life to become your whole life, then you can get stuck right there. So now you have to start asking yourself, what skills do I need or what strength do I need to move past where I'm at to start launching into greater territory? Because I can tell you this, nothing is going to be easy. So if ease is what you're looking for, I don't know if you're going to get it on this side of the coin, okay? But what you will get is peace. And what you will get is more time to do the things that you really want to do. Because even though you might be in a place that's great, maybe it's not giving you the time to do the other stuff. Or maybe you're not taking care of yourself to make sure you have the energy to do the other things, okay? That's something that we got to consider and ponder, because sometimes we get to that point and we don't want to move forward. Now, I do believe that you can have a growth spurt. And when I say growth spurt, it means that there are things that have happened in all of our lives, okay? And they can put us to a place to where we're afraid to move from where we're at. Some of you've never been as secure as you are right at this moment. In other words, you struggled and grind to get to this point. So how dare someone tell you that you need to do more? In your mindset, it's like, I'm actually okay where I'm at. But here's my question to you. How are you really? When you really look in the mirror, are you the person that you want to be? And I guess many of us can say, well, even in a job I like, I might not be where I want to be. But the question now comes back to what are you going to do about what you know? Okay. Here's something I want to drop on you for just a quick thing to push you forward in your growth is you are not responsible for your trauma. So whatever has happened to you to bring you to this point, you're not responsible for that, but you are responsible for your own healing. And let me clarify this statement. In other words, life happens to all of us. There's nothing we can do about that. People die, people leave, people lie, people mistreat you, people are going to do all those things. Life is going to happen to you without your permission sometimes, okay? So that's not what we have to focus on because you can't do anything about that. But what you can do is focus on healing, moving forward, launching into the deep, going beyond where you're at right now. That's your responsibility and it becomes a choice. I believe some people can get stuck in areas of their life and never move forward or launch into that next category or phase of their life. Because there's one thing I do find out, there's a book and it talks about there's a time for mourning, there's a time for joy, there's a time for craziness, there's a time for peace. I mean, there's a time and season for everything and it hits all of our lives differently. That means that none of us are going to have the steady road. There's always going to be what we call ups and downs. But with those ups and downs, we have to ask ourselves that now, I mean, can I really do anything about what happened? And most definitely the question in most cases is no, it's happened, it's done. You couldn't do anything about that. But you are responsible for your now. You know, I had someone I was talking to the other night and I told him a story about, you know, a guy that told me he was 50 years old, maybe a little older, and he couldn't read. And he kept, I never learned. I didn't know. Nobody taught me how to read. I couldn't know how to read. And I hate to be harsh, but I looked at him. I said it like, can you believe that you passed over 50 adult daycare, adult learning centers, and so now in your 40 something years or 35 something years of not knowing, or however that time is, you've passed by so many opportunities to make a change, but you've made a decision not to. So you at this point at 50 plus not knowing how to read is because you just don't want to know. I know that's one of those hard hitting facts. So in some aspects of your life, there are things that you don't know because you just don't want to know, or you just haven't made time to know. I don't know about you, but if I found out I was dying, I'm going to make time to find out about what the healing is. I'm going to stop everything. I told my wife, if I get sick or get put in jail and any of those crazy things, hawk the house. Hawk the house. Give me life and freedom, and I promise you, I'll make back the money. Okay? Here's what happens though. You can fall into a cycle of inconsistency. And here are two things that happen in that cycle before, when you have a failure to launch. Is the first thing we do is justify. Anybody on this Zoom that's good at justifying why they haven't done what they said they would do? If that's you, just type in there, you are talking to me. Because ultimately, a lot of times we can justify it. And you know when it's really good is when you can tell yourself a real good story on why, and you actually start believing it. It's like, yeah, this is why. And then you start believing it, and then you start telling other people why. And you talk to somebody like me, and I'm gonna look at you like, nah, that you convince yourself, but I'm not convinced that that works, or that is a real reason why you haven't done it. You know, that's why you need a coach. You got enough people placating you or making you feel good about your inconsistency. You need somebody that's gonna look you in the eye and say, yeah, I get where you're going with this, but no. You just trying to justify why you ain't did it. You know, here's the reason why. And it sounds so good. And I mean, I'll let people go through the dissertation about, oh yeah, you know, and then this is why, and man, then once they're done, I'll say, well, sounds like me, you've convinced yourself. Anybody in this chat that's had that happen with me, that I've actually told you, well, sounds like you've convinced yourself. And what I'm really saying is, in other words, you've convinced yourself and justified why you aren't doing what you're doing. And I'm sorry, as your coach, as your coach, I'm not going to let you just sit there and justify something that I know is just an excuse. All right. How about procrastination? Anybody suffering from procrastination on my Zoom, put it in my chat. I don't see my chat lighting up, you know, unless we all got it together on tonight. Nah, I don't procrastinate. Okay, when's the last time you told yourself you was going to do something and it took you 2 days to do it? I don't care if it was cutting the grass. I don't care what it was, cleaning the garage, whatever it is, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get to it. Hey, that's procrastination. Okay? And how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so I guarantee you there are other areas in your life that you are low-key procrastinating on. And you're making really good reasons and you're justifying your procrastination. Well, I'm waiting until everything is right. Once everything is right, man, nothing but smooth sailing. I'm not going out until I see everything working the way it needs to, until I get the job that pays me the benefits I'm making right now, until and the only bad thing is you'd rather stay where you're at than bet on yourself and go higher. Okay? If I were to bet, I'm going to bet on you. I'm going to bet on you being able to do more than what you're doing right now. All right? Next thing, cycle of consistency when it comes to failure to launch. And consistency is huge. I think sometimes your greatest consistency is your inconsistency, but I do also believe that there are things that you can be very consistent at that benefit you and build your consistency muscle. It's almost like it's a muscle that has to be built by doing the little things, okay? First thing is with cycle of consistency, you gotta have inspiration. And I wanna call that pull. In other words, inspiration comes from within and you have to pull that out, okay? That means that you have to inspire yourself. You have to, I know people say, well, you inspire me. Really, that's not the way the word is really used, but it sounds good. But true inspiration comes from within, okay? And so that's why it says inspiration. In other words, it comes from within. So that's more of a pull from what's within. Now, the next step is motivation, which is more of a push. And that means that you're motivated through outside forces to do something that you know you should have done. So herein lies my job, is to motivate you to now hopefully become inspired to do what you said you would do. But the key being is that motivation only pushes you from an outward source, that inspiration has to come from within. And once you develop that consistency, those things are going to be working for you. Now, the last thing, of course, is execution, which is huge, which is where I focus. I promise you, I always look with the end in mind. Whatever I start, I am already finished it in my mind. No matter what has happened in my life. I ran a half marathon again this year. And the only thing I can remember in my mind was the finish line. All the other stuff didn't matter. My thought was, I just got to make it to the finish line. Even if they had to wheel me across in a wheelbarrow, I was making it across the finish line, doggone it. And that's the key in your life. You have to ask yourself, maybe I haven't launched because I don't have the end in mind. I want to jump, but I can't see where I'm going to land. And in life, not all the times where you see it, you just have to see it. In other words, you can't see it naturally, but you have to see it before you see it. I often pray, give me sight beyond sight. Help me to see things that I can't see that are going to happen in my life as I keep going forward, okay? But that execution is huge because inconsistency, then there's inspiration, inward, pull, motivation, outward, pull, push, and then of course, execution is actually just getting it done, all right? Now, with that being said, you know me, I want to open up the dialogue a little bit. I want to talk about this because sometimes until you hear yourself, you don't realize that what you're doing is making maybe some statements that maybe when you really step back and thought about it, it's like, wow, that ain't even me. Or where did that thought come from? Or how did I get to feel that way? Okay. Now, I do have a quick question though, is what project or projects have you failed to launch? Okay. Let me open up my chat lines. Let me see in the chat. Also, if you're bold enough, if you would open up your mute and let me know what projects do you have or have had that you failed to launch? And then if you would be even bolder and more transparent, why didn't it go forward? What was your reasoning that you told yourself? Who's bold today? Now, you remember, I know y'all.
Yeah. You got one right here.
What's going on?
Man, not much. Just chilling over here with Sambonio. With the
Hey, what's my dude?
So for me, it's an online training program,
Mm.
right? It's definitely been a desire of my heart for a while now, and something that I'll still do. But reasons why I've had failure to launch with that are there's a few of them, right? One, I always end up busy with other tasks, other things that appear more urgent at the moment, and so it gets put on the back burner. Two, the whole imposter syndrome, like, I need to learn more before I do it, or, in this current state, I'm not ready or good enough to do it, so self-doubt. There's a combination of self-doubt and then other tasks and other things seeming to be more important in a time frame, so I'm not prioritizing that very thing.
Wow. That was a mouthful and very transparent. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Can anyone else relate to that? Throw up your hands. Can you relate to that? Oh my goodness. It's like, wow, what is wrong? What is up with that? All right, who else is out there, man? Who's willing to be transparent enough to help the group? What projects have you failed to launch, and why did it not go forward?
I could be transparent for sure.
Thank you.
So again, I'm moving all around. So I'm listening in my ear, but like multitasking. I think that's the issue too, to be honest. I can't really just sit down and focus on one task at a time, but at the same time, it's life. And as I'm listening to you before, like explaining away, there's a component to that I do understand, but then there's a reality, right? Meaning, I'm living this truth. Meaning that, okay, for me to achieve certain goals, sometimes I gotta multitask or I can't have it. You know what I mean? And I think if anything, it's just for me to learn how to balance. So if we're looking at, projects that I have failed to launch, I think right now for me, like I get so caught up and excited with just like the ideal opportunities because I know what it can do for me, that I can't sit my hyper butt down, right, to focus on just that one task, which is why, I'm here, and I'm looking towards, more interactions or getting that one-on-one coaching for sure. We're looking at the career chat, like you said, government job and all that good stuff. I'm very appreciative. But again, I know that my ceiling is much higher than that. And I know that in a way, I kind of set myself up to at least network before I leave this realm. There's some very influential people in this realm, and it's all about the connecting the dots. So I think that with that, coupled with maybe the work schedule and the new lifestyle, the kids and stuff, I'm just, again, I think like I said before, surviving the day, right? Some days it's more manageable, but other days I'm just like, wow. So when, I think you probably asked me, what do you do for you? I'm like, I feel like all this is for me, but more so is about the legacy building. So there's a sacrifice in that, right? I don't have to be out kicking it. COVID kind of knocked me off my stool with my workouts, but even as of late, I think that's what have you been doing lately? I probably could have added, I get up for my 24s. The first thing I'm doing, I get my boys up. I'm on that treadmill. I'm working with the controllables. So it's interesting because I can see it, but then sometimes I'm just like, woo, okay, what's the next thing that's directly in front of me versus being able to plan out like I feel like I'm very good at. And that's what's going on right now.
Man, that's good, Troy. I appreciate that, man. That's real stuff. This is real stuff, guys, that we all deal with. Either being in business, looking to go into business, to where now there are all kind of variables and pitfalls, and there's so much that we could be doing, but the key is really focusing on what we want to do, and that's the kicker, guys. If it's something we really want to do, now some things we don't do just we don't want to do. That's different. But there are things that you really do want to do and have on your list that we got to find out. How can we get you to launch in that area? Who else? I see Robbie. I see you're off mute. Does that mean that you have something you want to say?
Well, I don't know a specific thing that I failed to launch, but I know some things are like time management. And then when you said executing, like seeing the end, I think I concern myself with the steps in between instead of the end part.
Mm. Okay, that's good because sometimes we can get stuck. And I think Robbie got stuck there. Oh, are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think time management is one of them. For
Okay.
time management, and then also, like you know how you said you can see the end of your something. I think sometimes I focus on the steps in between instead of the end part. So I
Okay.
look more at the steps in between instead of just looking at the end of a thing.
Okay. And the funny thing is, I mean, the steps in between are important. And so you definitely want to focus on divide. Please don't get me wrong, guys. I believe you should have a plan of action on what you want to do to take those steps. But I just have seen a few people that have gotten stuck within that area. And it's almost like those that want to be educated 15 times. It's like, okay, at what point will you actually launch with all the information? And I think Deshaun mentioned it. I think imposter syndrome kicks in. Or in other words, you don't feel like within yourself that you know enough. Or maybe it's confidence that you might lack. And you feel like your confidence is actually around your knowledge when sometimes it is. But I also find out my confidence a lot of times is in my doing. So as I step out and start moving in a thing, I feel better in it. It's almost like when I'm on stage, I feel better when I'm actually on the stage than before I get on the stage. Before I'm on the stage, I got jitters, I'm tripping, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna say? I'm all over the place. Then boom, once I hit the platform, let's go. It's go time. So I know for me that launching aspect is more of let's do it. Let's get over it. Even tonight, I'm like, okay, let me get through this. Let me get through this. Only because I know for me, I'm more of an executor than I am one that's going to sit back and plan. But once again, that's personality types too. As long as you can do both and stick to your plan on both of those. Anyone else? Anyone else? Failure to launch. Failure to launch. What do you got? What projects have you thought about, talked about, but just have not launched or allowed to go forward? All right.
RW, I have a story, but my story is not a failure to launch because I don't commit to things that I don't have the capacity or accountability to commit to. My story is very different. I grew up with parents who were very big procrastinators, very much liars, a whole lot of that. So I vowed to myself growing up, when you're in that type of toxic environment, that I didn't want to be that type of person. So I learned at a young age that discipline, that it was very important to do what you say. I know I didn't want to be a liar to my community, to my family, to myself. So it was certain things I learned to put in place to always have forward movement. One is always depositing something into my life. I think we wait for those moments where you're waiting for a lump sum, or like you said, you're waiting on a deposit of knowledge, or you waiting and there's no need to wait. You know, that depositing that little something every day is better than nothing. You know, I see people say, well, I don't have the startup money, but you did have $5 every day. And that $5 could have added to $10, to $15, to $20, to $30. You know, it was a good thing, you know, Gloria taught this week about building stones and building blocks. And I believe that is a living tool that you actually see in your life, is what blocks are you actually building every day so that you're not stuck. And just keep in mind that something is better than nothing. You know, it's always better to deposit something than deposit nothing.
Wow, I like that. Those baby steps, and that's kind of what I hear you saying is not how much you do, is that you're constantly building on something. And I love those little blocks that you use, because really a wall or brick wall is not built all at once. It's built brick by brick by brick by brick. And sometimes for many of you that I'm talking to, you want everything to be done at once. It's almost like, if I can use a marriage, say your marriage or relationship is not good, it didn't just happen that way. It's been not good for a while. And then now it's come to a head. So that means in order for it to be fixed, it won't take a right moment thing. It's going to take a continuous process of actually getting to where you want to be. And so that's the patience and due diligence of going forward so you can actually launch fully into what you're trying to do. So here's the second part of my question is for those of you that have thought about my first question, the second question is, what needs to change now for you to launch your business or idea? What needs to change now? And that can be within you. No, that has to be within you because your circumstances might not change, but you have to change in your circumstances. So what changes, what needs to happen now for you to launch your business idea? What needs to happen to make you go forth in that thing that you've actually aspired to do? If I could, Shardy, are you available to talk? I want to hear from you. What needs to happen now? What needs to happen in you right now? Or put it in the chat.
For me, just marketing more and putting the designs that I have already and like possible like redoing them and adding the other ones that I have too. So basically right now it's just marketing that I would need to do.
Okay. So now let's go with a quick, I'm a step guy. So what can you do for the next 3 days? Monday, was it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? How many posts can you put out in the next 3 days? And I'm just saying being consistent. Can you do two posts a day, 3 posts a day? What are you going to commit to me right now that you're going to do to at least get that marketing started?
We would have to, well, what I would have to do is probably do one because I have to, some of my shirts that I posted once before, they're no longer in with my vendors. So I have to go back in and take that design and put it on like a different shirt. So I would say I could possibly still do 2 though. I would say let's do 2 for the next 3 days and see how that works. So I can do that.
Well, do me a favor, as accountability, once you send those posts out, the second post, text me.
Okay.
Hey, I sent out those 2 posts. And then also I want you to think about this. What if even though you don't have it, you got to make an adjustment to it? What if you just posted coming soon?
Yeah, that would be good too. Coming soon, since I would have to make some adjustments with my shirts.
Whatever you want to put. The key is if they don't know you, they can't flow you.
That's true.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Shardy. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Who else is out there that's bold enough, brave enough to share? What can you do now or what needs to change now? What needs to change within you now to push you forward?
I say my discipline. I feel like, before I was like a sharp sword. I'm dull right now. And if, to be honest, you got to look at it as perspective for life experience. Sometimes these things are going on and it's out of your control. I think it's important to always remember like what you're going through because you have to know that this is not going to last forever, right?
Right.
The beauty of it is reflecting. Now, let's say, when you're back on your swivel or you're achieving a level beyond what you have never achieved before, you can reflect back and you have talking points because the next person may be going through something similar, right? Or understandable to what you went through. So you can be an assist. But if anything, for me, it's just those baby steps back towards like the discipline. But I do also know, I don't know if it's a bad thing, like what's that Rocky with the Russian when Apollo Creed got with that Rocky 2?
Rocky, I know my Rocky's Rocky number 4.
But you know what I'm talking about. So I feel like to a point, I'm not gonna say, well, I get the description as robotic, but I don't feel that way. It's my tunnel vision. And I could get like that Russian sometime, like, yo, this is the objective. You know what I mean? And if he dies, he dies. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. It's just how I've been able to achieve things that I have already. And you know, I'm of course open to changing and adapting because that's part of growth. But some things have been making no sense to me, to be honest, because I know that if the objective is achieved, I can do it. But at this point right now, like I was talking about the multitasking, right? The different dynamics that I'm dealing with, I have to be more realistic. And I can't jeopardize everything else. Not an excuse, but it's understanding that's the part of being in it, right? Understanding, okay, what's really going on? I got a lot of words for it, but let's say if I was to express it to you, Mr. Williams, you'd be like, okay, I hear where where you're going, but this is what I'm seeing. So I'm not saying that like I don't know. I think sometimes where I'm at in life is go through this struggle because it's not gonna last forever.
Okay.
But I'm not just sitting around letting it happen. I'm like, okay, I get it. All right, I got it. But it's part of outside of your control. I think, like you said before, we'd be so ready to rush things to the next spot or to the next position, and sometimes it's just not time for that. But it's not an excuse, right? I'm just saying because it's a fine line. A lot of this stuff is really a fine line. So, if anything, the life experience that's coming with it, I'm experiencing for sure. But I know, I'm like, okay, I could do this. It's nothing. There's nothing. But it's kind of hard to explain after that.
Well, I think you did a good job. I mean, because really, an aspect of just listening to what you're saying, it's a matter of the discipline of being able to stay focused on the task at the time slated for the task.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a beautiful thing. If you can say for the next 2 hours, I'm gonna spend time with my boys. I ain't listening to nobody. I ain't doing nothing. My kids, I'm just gonna spend 2 hours with them. Tunnel vision, bam. Then you take that next hour before bed and you say, look, baby, it's me and you. I'm just gonna look you in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it depends on what the focal point is and the time frame.
Yeah.
Because remember, life is moments. And so depending on what moment you're in, but then again, I'm a big scheduler because I have so much going on. I have to even schedule time in with my family. So every Sunday we have family dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I schedule for focus time.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe your tunnel vision is amazing. Matter of fact, I wish I had it in the aspect of I could just be that focused on one thing, but I would rather be focused on that one thing for just a period of time.
Right.
And that way it gets my full attention, which is beautiful because then you're not multitasking at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You're just focusing on what needs to be done. Like right now, I'll have a point to where I got to make calls. So for the next hour, I got to make calls. Okay. Sometimes I walk in my office and I say, I can't take calls for the next 3 hours because I got to focus on this what I'm working on. So to me, that tunnel vision can be great. But as long as you keep it in spurts and not make it to where it just consumes everything else.
I think I'm also, this is before I'm done, because I know someone might have something to say. I'm in a place where, I'm always open-minded to perspective. But that mentorship, again, it comes back to, like, this is all happening for a reason. I've come in contact with you, tapping in with the group for a reason. So it's only reinforcing, as to, be in the moment and appreciate it, even if it don't feel good. And that's me. It ain't got to feel good, but it's got to be a means to an end, right? There's got to be a reason why. And I can explain that away, not if it's a good or bad thing, but it makes sense. But I also learned that it don't always makes sense to everybody. So it's interesting, but life is very dynamic. Life is still beautiful, right? It just comes with necessary perspectives.
I like that word perspectives because really that's what it boils down to is how you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when you use that word, and you guys can take this, you guys that are on with us, is what's realistic to you might not be realistic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody told me, be realistic. This military job is just the best thing that we can have for right now. The world's at a war. I'm like, that's your realistic side. That's your perspective. But my perspective is I know I can do better. And so, but also I enjoyed the time that I spent in the military because it did teach me discipline to do the things I'm doing now. So definitely appreciative, but yet really knowing that somebody's reality, somebody's perspective is going to be different. And that's okay. I think that's great. But the key is sometimes just looking at what we're thinking and just making sure we're seeing it from, I call it how it can help me, but also how it can bite me. Those are the two big ways I look at things. How can this help me? How can it bite me? And when it comes to failure to launch, it's like, okay, what's going to make me go forth? And what's going to make me make it a reason why I shouldn't? That's really the two things there. And then figuring out how to go forth from there. All right, Lee, I know you're on. I know you're working, but any words of wisdom, man? I know you're on there. Or maybe you're not. Okay, you might have popped off. Yep. Okay, cool. No worries. Sammy, what you thinking, man? I know you're driving, man. Make sure you're safe. But any thoughts or comments on tonight? Oh, somebody working out. What? Was that working? Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, can't hear you still.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I didn't hit the video and didn't hit the unmute. But now the question is, what can I do? What do I need to do now in order to go ahead and make that change?
Absolutely.
Like I said before, man, one of my biggest things is asking for help. I definitely need to start asking for the help and not get frustrated when I don't find that right help immediately. You know, my patience is bad. Like I want to make sure I find that right person. You know, I'll ask 2 people and then my journey quits. You know, after I don't get those results that I need as fast as I need them. So work on my patience, man. Work on my time management, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, and just seek out the proper people. That's what I would say. That's my 3 things right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. What else did you get on tonight? What nugget did you pick up tonight?
Too many nuggets. You had a term. It was a circle of. Was it the circle of
consistency and inconsistency?
There you go. Now that one hit home. Sometimes I just get trapped, man, and I'll make up some excuses for myself, like I can't do this right now because of X, Y, and Z, and then I just, a week later I find myself in the same spot, So, man, like every time we get up on these meetings, I definitely go ahead and you hit it home for me, but I just got to keep striving. I got to keep striving, man. I just need to sit down and I'm definitely up in that ready set. I've been in that ready set phase. The execution is where I'm stuck at right now.
Well, perfect, man. Well, I'm looking forward. Matter of fact, when you get a chance, I know I sent you a text. I want to sit down with you. I got to chop it up and see exactly what we can do to make sure we're pointing you in that right direction. For a lot of you guys, I really want to work on you to where at least we get a 30-day goal or your 30-day plan where we can start moving you in the direction of what you want. And that's the key. What do you want? I'm always going to come back to that, because ultimately, if you don't want it, then I can't make you want what I want. I must make you want what you want, and then show you how to get there and navigate to get it, to finalize it, finish it, and get the results. Because right now in life, we can talk a whole lot, but unless there's some results on what we're doing, then the question is, what are we doing? Okay, we can do a whole lot of action, a whole lot of movement, but how do we work that to where now it becomes actually execution? All right, well, guys, I appreciate you tonight. This has been good stuff. I am always excited to hear from you guys, and I hope you're learning to get some new stuff. But I want you to think about this as homework. And we're not going to talk about this now, but what is stopping you from being the best version of you? I mean, really, to the core of everything we talked about, what's stopping you from being your best version, living your best life, as they say? I'm not talking about your broke life. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about what it looks like. I want to be what you actually now can say, I am moving towards the best version of myself. I believe I'm chasing it personally every day. Every day I'm looking to be better husband, better coach, better parent. I mean, better all those things. But I think, once again, we got to get to that point to where we realize what is stopping you from being the best version of you. That's your homework on tonight, okay? I want you to process that. Matter of fact, some of you would afterwards shoot me a text. Let me know, what is that thing? That way I know exactly what to start working with or dealing with when we're talking about these topics. Okay. Biggest key, guys, of course, why do I need a performance coach? Just key, the words that we spoke tonight, to get out of the mode of failure to launch. We want you to launch. We want you to go forward. We want you to execute and become that thing that you know you should be by now. Okay. My job is not going to be to sit back and make you feel good about not moving forward. My job is to make sure you are moving forward, even though it might get painful. I'm going to let you know that up front. Those of you that are going to be running the half marathon with me in February is going to get a little painful, but your purpose is sometimes in your pain. So don't be afraid to feel a little something, something. I also believe that pain is weakness leaving the body. So that means that sometimes it's going to require some pain to get to your pleasure points. All right. Accountability, guys. Hey, it's a matter of getting you from intention, from wanting to do something to actually doing something. So I believe the accountability that I'm willing to offer and we're offering in this group is hopefully to get you to close the gap between what you want to do and actually doing it. All right. Don't go it alone. I love what Sammy said tonight, getting to that place to where, man, look, I need help. I think those are the most inspiring words from an inward side of it, of saying, look, I cannot do this by myself. This is too big for me. I say this every morning. This is too big for me. For what you're giving me to do, this is too big for me. And it reminds me that that means that I cannot do this by myself. Okay, I have a coach. I have a very expensive coach. So I believe if you're a coach and don't have a coach, there's a problem, because you got to know how to make sure. I just spent a whole lot of money with my coach, and that's okay, because to me, everything I've spent has been worth it. So really, to me, it's no longer an expense. It becomes really an investment in myself. Some of you haven't learned how to invest in yourself. You need to learn how to invest in you. I mean, I know you say, well, I invested in myself with nails or this, that, and I get it. But what about your mind? You know, I sat with one of my new clients today, and she's about to be a one-on-one coaching client. And as I'm talking to her, she was just sitting there lighting up on all cylinders because things were coming that weren't coming before. And that was not because she didn't already know it. It's just she needed somebody to stir it, somebody to make it to where she brought it to her forefront. Okay. Here, how can I help you? Gosh, I do everything. Now, the key being is I do everything, but I don't do anything. How about that? In other words, the good news is I have licenses to do certain things, but I have a great staff that actually covers me and does the work. It's very important that you realize that. It keeps me free to do what I do, but the same token, offer you not just, hey, this sounds good, but hey, let's get it done. Okay. Many of you on this Zoom, I've already helped out. I've created your LLCs. I've helped you get things set up with your insurance, your investments. Those are things that I do, which can help you execute and actually launch in that next direction. Value exchange, of course, value for value. I believe it's not robbery when you are giving value to retain value in return. Now, the way this coaching program works, for those that are new, is it's a $99 a month, and that's for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, depending on how the months run, of group coaching. You get to be on this call, you get to follow up with us, you get to get the text, you get to get into what we're doing. I try to draw you in, try to reach out to you from time to time to make sure, but ultimately being around a group of people that hopefully will make you start looking at things a little differently. Because remember this, where you're at today is not who you need to become to be who you really want to be. Okay, think about that again, or should think about that, because ultimately, if right now you were where you want to be, then you, of course, wouldn't need me or anybody else. But in most cases, there's just some help that you need, a little push. And if I can help you push, and I can help you do some things that you wouldn't ordinarily do, would it not be worth it? But you have to value yourself enough to invest in yourself. All right. A lot of you guys now are looking into my coaching program, my one-on-one. I know this is invaluable. I mean, I guess to get me in your ear every week, I'm not the greatest person, but I just have a gift. I have a gift of looking at somebody and helping them get to their purpose, to their destiny. And once again, going further, faster. One thing I can guarantee is if I'm coaching you, you're going to be a whole lot better with me. And I guarantee you, I'll help you get to where you want to be. Now, I might have to take you kicking and screaming, especially if you're paying me, but we won't get you there because my name is on the line. My reputation is on the line. And I guarantee you, I will show you how to finish. All right. Other than that, guys, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. We look forward to seeing you again on next Thursday. I might have a surprise guest. I got a multi-million-dollar friend that might drop in and drop some bombshells. You know, we just did a little deal today. I picked up about 2 million shares of his company, and I'm looking forward to him having me. We'll see. If he don't drop in next week, it's going to be soon. But I want to bring some more people to the table that hopefully can help some of my friends, some of the people I can now call. It's so crazy. Who would have thought a young kid from South Carolina, Summerville, South Carolina, could come to a place to where now you have judges, you have politicians, you have lawyers, you have multi-millionaire friends, all because I made a decision to go after results. All right, you guys be blessed. Take care of yourself. Be great. I'll see you soon. All right, have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See you later. Have a great night.